Okay, so last meeting, Saint Mark, last week, that is week number 5, we discussed already the, um, wait lang. Okay, we discussed already the computer hardware that makes up our computer to run. Okay, for this week naman, or for this day, this is week number 6 na po, we are going to talk about naman the computer software. Then later on, we're going to discover what are the difference between anong pagkakaiba ng computer hardware and wait lang, computer hardware and computer software. Okay, so to start with, we have here our objective. Okay, our objectives will be compare and contrast the computer hardware and computer software, then explain the importance of computer software. Wait lang, nagdo-double yata yung boses ko. Okay, so computer software, it says in your module that a software is a program that makes up of that make our computer run. So which means without the computer software, hindi po gagana ang ating computer. Why? Because computer software is the one who are receiving our instruction, who are receiving our commands para i-distribute ito, i-process ito, at maibigay sa mga output devices. Okay, yung mga output devices na mga diniscuss natin last week, that is week number 5. So, para maibigay siya sa mga iba't ibang computer hardware at para magawa nila yung trabaho nila, computer software will receive our command. Kung anong gusto nating ibigay na instruction sa ating computer, si computer software ang nagre-receive. Then, ang gagawin ni computer software is ipaprocess niya yung command natin or yung instruction natin using the different computer hardware. Then, distribute it to the different output computer hardware or output devices. Okay? So, here are the two types of computer software. We have two types. First is the application software and second is the system software. And those are what we call now the types of computer software. So, computer software is divided into two or classified into two, the application and the system. Let's start discussing first the application or the system software. System software, or what we call the operating system. If you are aware with the operating system, ang ating smartphone has its own operating system. Ito yung mga Android KitKat, Android Gingerbread, and so on. And of course, your smartphone is considered also as a computer. Why? Kasi nga po kung ano ang kayang gawin ng ating computer, kayang-kayang gawin na din po ng ating smartphones. Okay, here are the different example or some examples of a system software or operating system. But before that, system software, it says there in our definition, doesn't need our intervention in order for them to work. Okay, or these are the programs, once you turn on your computer, these are the programs that will automatically open their self. Okay, hindi natin siya kailangang i-open. Once na tinurn on natin si computer, automatic i-open na po niya yung sarili niya. So it means this software is working once we turn on our computer without our interventions. Okay, so that is a system software. And here are some examples of system software or what we call the operating system sa ating computer. For the first example, we have the Windows XP, which is made by the Microsoft company for desktop and laptops only, which are commonly found at home or school. Actually, makikita din natin ito sa computer shop. Usually, nakikita natin yung interface na to sa computer shop. So, ito yung interface or startup interface ng ating Windows XP once we turn on our computer. And once natapos yung startup ng ating Windows XP, mapupunta na tayo sa interface or desktop interface ng ating computer. And this is the desktop interface of our computer if we are using Windows XP. okay, or if Windows XP is installed into our computer. Okay, so kung nakakita na kayo ng ganyan na interface, then that is Windows XP created by Microsoft. Then, nag-improve si Windows XP. Okay, the improvement of Windows XP is no other than the Microsoft Windows Vista. Okay, Microsoft Windows Vista, this is the entrance or this is the startup interface of Vista. Then, this is the desktop interface of Windows Vista. Okay, as you can see, ibang-iba na po yung ating desktop interface compared to the Windows XP. Sa ating Windows Vista, we are now using a glass design. Okay, glass design or tiles design sa Windows XP. Ay, sa Windows Vista. Okay, and this is the startup of Windows Vista. Okay, and it is more advanced than Windows XP. It has been enhanced with the different features. Okay, so yun po siya. Next, we have also the MacOS. It is used by Macintosh computer. Usually, naka-install siya sa Macintosh computer, which is made by Apple company. So, kung yung computer ninyo is Apple computer, then yung operating system po niyan is no other than macOS, different version of macOS, depende kung anong version ang naka-install po dyan. And this is the interface or desktop interface of macOS. Okay, so lahat po ng mga Apple computers ang naka-install na operating system sa kanila is no other than macOS. And next system software is no other than the Linux. Linux operating system can be downloaded free from the internet. So ibig sabihin, yung tatlong nauna, yung Windows XP, Windows Vista, and of course the macOS, may bayad po yung mga yon, hindi po siya libre. Pero meron po tayong operating system na libre, which is the Linux. Okay? Linux is free. All you have to do is to download it from the internet. Siyempre, kung free operating system ang Linux, then yung mga applications na i-install natin sa Linux is also free. Okay? Na mga applications na kailangan natin and that we are going to install into the Linux is also free, including antivirus and other applications or other programs. So those are some examples of system software or operating system. Always remember that system software doesn't need our intervention in order for them to work.
Good afternoon po, sir.
Good afternoon. Wait lang. Okay. Now, let's proceed naman on the application software so we can identify what are their differences. So, system software, ito yung mga operating. Without the system software, hindi po gagana ang ating computer or hindi po gagana ang ating smartphone. While the application software is the different application that can be installed into our computer or can be installed into our smartphone. Ito na yung mga dinadownload natin sa mga Google Play. Ito na yung mga dinadownload natin sa internet na ginagamit natin. So, says there, application software are the programs that is installed to our computer. So, example of system software, ito na yung mga Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Access, and other applications na ini-install natin sa ating computer or smartphones. Okay? In-example ko na ang smartphone as a computer ha, because we can consider the smartphone as a computer kasi nga kung anong kayang gawin ni computer, kayang gawin na din po ng ating smartphones. Okay, here are some examples of application software for better understanding. For the first example is word processing. So these are the application that allows us to create letters, memos, and other write-ups. So example of this one is no other than WordStar, Microsoft Word, Perfect Word, or WordPerfect, and others. Actually, any application that allows us to create letters, that allows us to create memos, reports, or that allows us to do write-ups. Okay, so another example is no other than the WPS because that is still, it allows us to create letters also. So, parang function siya ng Microsoft Word. So, those are what we call the word processing. So, any application that allows us to create letters, memos, or reports. Another example is electronic spreadsheet. So software that are equipped with rows and column. Example is the Microsoft Office Excel. This also allows us to compute numbers or numeric data automatically through rows and columns. Okay, so that is the Microsoft Office Excel. So composed of rows and columns. And that is what we call the electronic spreadsheets. Another is a database program. These are programs that can be used to organize data. It is also equipped with rows and columns. Kaya lang, ang pagkakaiba ni Excel at saka ni database, si Excel kasi it allows you to compute and store information through rows and columns. Pero yun lang yung actually na purpose niya. Now, etong si database, it allows you also to store information through rows and column. It also allows you to calculate numeric data automatically, but aside from that, in-integrate kasi natin si database program to computer programming. So, ibig sabihin, usually, ang ginagamit natin for the different system or once you are going to create a computer program, gagamit tayo ng database program for the storage of information. So, pag gumamit or gumawa kayo ng database program or gumamit kayo ng database program, ang purpose nyo doon is creating a computer program. Okay, kasi gagamitin natin yung database to store information and organize information. Okay, and next is multimedia, desktop, and image editing. These are the application that is used to edit image, that allows you to edit image. Dito na natin natatanggal ang mga pimples natin at napapaganda yung mga illustrations or image natin. Okay, so those are what we call multimedia, desktop, and image editing. An example of this one is no other than the Adobe Photoshop. Aside from Adobe Photoshop, we have also the MS Paint, the GIMP, the CorelDRAW, and others. That allows you to edit image, create publications, create a layout for your tarpaulins, and so on. Okay? The next is entertainment software. So it is designed for fun and relaxation. Example of this one is VLC and Windows Media Player, because it allows us to play music and play videos or movies for fun and relaxation, of course. Next is Antivirus Utilities. It is a special program that are created to cure infected files or prevent virus infection, computer virus infection. So there are a lot of antiviruses out there, pero may I suggest na kapag gagamit or mag-i-install tayo ng antivirus sa ating computer, okay na po yung isa or dalawang antivirus. Okay? Please do not use more than 2 antivirus kasi mas lalong papasukin po ng virus ang ating computer. Okay? And yun lang, Antivirus Utilities. Next is also engineering and architectural tools. These are used to design structures like buildings, bridge, cars, and other structures. Okay? So, an example of this one is AutoCAD, the Autodesk. AutoCAD and Autodesk. AutoCAD kasi it's not free. Pero kung gusto nyong gumamit ng free, na parang AutoCAD din lang, then you should use Autodesk. Okay? So, dito tayo nakakapag-design ng mga designs ng car, designs ng buildings, designs ng bridge, and other structures. Kasi dito natin ma-visualize kung ano magiging itsura niya through 3D. Okay? Nandito lahat ng mga kakailangan ninyo for designing. Okay? And it is usually used by engineers and architecture, of course. And of course, we have also the network and communication software. This includes browsers, emails, and others. An example of this one is no other than the Google Chrome and the Mozilla Firefox. Why do we consider the Google Chrome and Mozilla Firefox as a network and communication software? Because they are usually used to communicate with other person, and they are usually used to log in into our different social medias for communication. So, browsers. Okay? Popular browsers no other than the Google Chrome and Mozilla Firefox. Now, as a summary, before we proceed to the summary, okay, sige. As a summary, please watch this short video clip about computer hardware or the difference between computer hardware and computer software. And of course, more explanation about the computer software. Oops.
Hardware and software, two terms you've probably heard of at one point or another. The odds are high that you use both on a daily basis, whether it's with your smartphone or personal computer. Let's take a deeper look at what these two things are and why they're important. Hardware is any element of a computer that's physical. This includes things like monitors, keyboards, and also the insides of devices like microchips and hard drives. Software is anything that tells hardware what to do and how to do it, including computer programs and apps on your phone. So video games, photo editors, and web browsers are just a few examples. Hardware and software are very different from each other, but they also need one another in order to function. Let's look at an example of this using a smartphone. In this case, the hardware would be the physical phone itself, and the software would be its operating system and its apps. If we were to take away the software, we would just have a dead phone in our hands. It wouldn't be able to make calls, text, or go online because it's not receiving any kind of instructions. On the other hand, let's say we have no hardware, meaning there's no actual phone. If all we have are the programs, we just have a bunch of instructions, but nothing to give those instructions to. So the big picture here is that hardware needs software to tell it what to do, but software also needs hardware in order to act out its directions. Technology will continue to evolve, and though we may not be sure of how things will look in, say, 100 years, this combination of hardware and software will be there, serving as its foundation.
GCF Global, creating opportunities for a better life.
Hardware.
Okay, so that is the difference between computer hardware and computer software. So computer software is the one who are receiving our instructions for processing. Then ibibigay nila sa mga computer hardware in order for them to show the result of our instruction. While the computer hardware naman, computer hardware is the physical parts of the computer. So without the physical parts of the computer, so without them, the computer software will not work, of course. And of course, the same or vice versa, without the computer software, the computer hardware will not work. Okay, so before I proceed to the recitation, do you have any questions, Saint Mark?
Wala po, sir.
Okay, so kung wala, the two types of computer software, don't forget, is the application software and of course the system software. System software doesn't need our intervention. Once you turn on your computer, the system software will automatically open by itself. While the application software are the different application that we are installing into our computer. Okay, so that we are using for creating documents and others. Okay, now kung wala ng question, then let's proceed to the recitation. For the recitation, you can just recite. Kung sakaling ayaw nyong magsalita through your microphone because you are too shy, you can just type into our chat box, then we will read it. Then another is, yun, recitation, graded recitation pa rin po tayo, as I told you in our first Google Meet. Every after our lesson will be graded recitation. So, for the last question, is it possible to use the computer without a computer software? Why or why not? So, possible po ba na gamitin si computer ng walang computer software? Why or why not? Anyone?
Hindi po.
Ha?
Hindi po pwede.
Okay, Mr. Brent. Okay, why did you say hindi pwede? Brent, what's your last name? Okay.
Wala ka pong pag-searchan.
Walang? Ano yun, Mr. Brent? Walang?
Wala ka pong pag-searchan.
Okay, wala po tayong pagsasearchan without a computer software according to Mr. Brent. Thank you, Mr. Brent. Okay, who else? Saint Mark? Okay, Brent Bulusan.
The machine cannot do anything without the software.
Okay, the machine cannot do anything without the software according naman kay Ashley. Okay, thank you, Miss Ashley. Ashley. Who else? Okay, I guess wala na. So thank you Ashley and Mr. Brent for your recitation and for your ideas. Now, if you have questions, kung may confusion po tayo about the computer hardware, then you can just chat me through Messenger po. Mag-a-answer naman po ako agad-agad once I see your message. Okay? So, I guess that's the end of our session. Let me just screenshot your attendance. Wait lang, wala po munang magle-left. Attendance. Ayaw. Okay. So, kung wala nang question, then may I call on Miss Akiko to formally end our session.